Hi dear students, dear friends, welcome to Gallant IAS. When you prepare the core subjects for your civil service examination, like history, economy, geography, Indian polity, etc., always adopt an integrated strategy of preparing. The same concept, the same topic can be applied into your prelims, mains, and to even your optional. Here, this topic, Plassey battle, it has been an important topic in your prelims examination, mains GS1, and your history optional. Okay, in the prelims, in mains GS1 and history optional of your UPSC Civil Service examination, this topic has been asked so many times. Just check the previous year's questions. Now here we will be solving another question. When we solve this question, we will be answering so many prelims questions also. Okay. 23rd June 1757, Plassey battle was fought. 23rd June 1757, Plassey battle was fought. Recently, last 2 years, we have seen regarding its anniversary celebrations, this Plassey was much debated among the historians we discussed in the newspapers. So this 23rd June 1757 Plassey battle was fought. According to some historians, it was the end of medieval India and the start of modern India. Some historians observed the Plassey battle, which was fought on 23rd June 1757, ended medieval India and started modern India. We have to analyze it. To begin with, Plassey battle, we know that who are the parties involved in this. The parties involved in this, we know, it is British East India Company. One side British East India Company versus Siraj-ud-Dawla. Siraj-ud-Dawla. He was the Nawab of Bengal. So this Plassey battle was fought between British East India Company and the Siraj-ud-Dawla, who was the Nawab of Bengal. Then we know that British victory, it was an outcome of conspiracy. It was an outcome of a conspiracy. Okay, British victory at Plassey, it was an outcome of a conspiracy. Robert Clive conspired against Siraj-ud-Dawla with some people of Siraj-ud-Dawla. For example, there are some very popular influential bankers, zamindars, moneylenders, and these nobles of Bengal. For example, Jagat Seth, Manik Chand, Mir Jafar. These were the main conspirators. So Robert Clive with these conspirators, they conspired against Siraj-ud-Dawla, and this battle, it was basically a betrayal. It was not a great battle, it was a betrayal. So British victory at Plassey, it was an outcome of a conspiracy. The results of this battle, definitely, British become the undisputed. British East India Company become the undisputed, leader of this Bengal, Bihar, Odisha. Or they got control over this undisputed free trade privilege in this Bengal, Bihar, Odisha. Okay, they got control over this undisputed free trade. I mean, they can conduct exports and imports without paying taxes, without paying customs duties. Okay, so they got the control over these undisputed free trade privileges in Bengal, Bihar, Odisha. Also, we can say that they appointed Mir Jafar as the puppet ruler of this Bengal. Then Mir Jafar given British 24 control of this revenue of the 24 parganas. Okay, and British, they all together, that was the British laid the foundation for. I mean, with the control of the resources of Bengal, they laid the foundation for building up a huge British empire in Indian subcontinent. Okay, now some historians say that, like for example, Jadunath Sarkar. According to his view, this Plassey resulted in the end of medieval India and start of modern India. You have to go for its plus and minus side. Whether it ended medieval India and started modern India or vice versa. You have to, or I mean, whether that statement is correct or not, you have to analyze here. See, Jagannath Sarkar says it was the end of this Plassey victory of British that ended medieval India, started modern India. See, many reasons are there. How he justified this, just look into these points. De facto rulers, British become the de facto rulers of this Bengal. Okay, they become the de facto rulers of this Bengal. They indirectly started controlling this political affair of this Bengal. In fact, Bengal was one of the major center of power in those days. Okay, so in 18th century, Bengal was one of the richest province, very powerful province. They got the control over the richest province of Indian subcontinent, that is Bengal. They become de facto rulers of Bengal. Then they introduced political unification. I mean, gradually, with this Plassey, they united this Bengal, Bihar, Odisha administration. Gradually, they extended it up to enter North India, and enter North India, they brought under a single administrative machinery, political unification, administrative uniformity, administrative machinery, a common administrative machinery they introduced here, and many, like for example, Warren Hastings, Cornwallis, or this Wellesley. These efficient leaders or administrators, they introduced some codification laws, or they introduced some like reforms, administrative reforms, by which they introduced a common judiciary system, police system, law and order system, administrative system, and also a new bureaucracy, a class of new bureaucracy introduced here. New bureaucracy introduced here. So medieval bureaucracy entered, modern bureaucracy started. Then medieval political system entered, modern political system started. Medieval judiciary, medieval policing, medieval law and order, that is entered, and modern judiciary, modern policing, modern law and order introduced here. Then also decline of the Mughals. Decline of the Mughals that created a power vacuum, and the British East India Company filled that power vacuum in the North India with the very victory of this Plassey. That is one argument. Okay, with the victory of the Plassey, gradually, stage by stage, British East India Company filled the power vacuum which was created in this North India due to the decline of the Mughals. Okay, then rule of the law they introduced here. A new rule of the law introduced here. That means, yeah, everyone is equal in the eyes of law. There is no biasness, and law is not interpreted by any zamindar or landlord, any noble classes, etc. Everyone is common in the eyes of law. A common judiciary system is there, common law and order is there, equal treatment to everyone, irrespective of their caste, creed, religion, sex. There is equal treatment to all in the eyes of law. Okay, then social modification or modernism. Many social legislations were passed. Social legislations were passed by which social institutions and social traditions or customs that modernized. That is one argument. Okay, many legislations were passed and society was modernized, society was westernized through modern education system, through these schools, hospitals, or through these new social institutions, new social legislatures. Okay, by changing the status of the women, etc. Yes, the society was also modernized. That is one argument. Westernization of the society. Then this intellectual reformism happened due to this modern education. The modern ideas, Western ideas, liberalism or rationalism or this secularism, democracy, individualism, these ideas become popular. That also modernized Indian society, Indian intellect. Then there is economic modernism. That means, yes, a closed economy is becoming an open economy. Or let's say that their argument is like this. Yes, a self-sufficient economy that's becoming a market economy, or it is becoming a capital economy, etc. Many interpretations are given here. So economy also transformed, Indian economy also transformed. These are some popular arguments in favor of this particular thought or this opinion that Plassey ended medieval India and it started modern India. But we can say that this argument is not 100% accurate, or we cannot say that the victory of the British at Plassey, it entered medieval India and started modern India. That argument 100% is not valid. We shall say that some counter arguments are also there. For example, the Plassey victory of the British or British victory at Plassey, it never created a pan-India impact. This victory, it limited to a region only. British East India Company's victory was, it limited to Bengal only. Okay, so after their victory, whatever the changes they introduced there, that will affect Bengal only. It was not at a pan-India level. India had many other princely states, many other rulers, regionalism, regional powers, etc. existed there. So British victory, it never created a pan-India transformation. It never created a pan-India modernism. Okay, then see, Mughal government still continued. Even though they declined, Mughal government continued. In the official documents, official papers and coins, yes, Mughal names, the name of the Mughal rulers were like given. Even their opponents also, Sikh Rajputs also, Marathas also, they accepted the Mughal sovereignty. So Mughal government continued, Mughal rule was accepted, and this Mughal government continued, and Mughal opponents also accepted Mughal sovereignty or Mughal government. So Mughal government continued. Then it is not a military, this is a military victory of the British. Okay, it was basically a result of a conspiracy. So Plassey was not a great battle, it was a great betrayal. So the British military strength is not tested here. Okay, it is just an outcome of a conspiracy. Okay, with a conspiracy, you cannot change the culture, the religion, the society, and intellect of a huge continent or a subcontinent or a huge society. Okay, so it was a result of a conspiracy. Then see, rule of the law. They say, as part of modernism, rule of the law, everyone is equal in the eyes of law concept is introduced. But again, this rule of law, it was only a theoretic like a justification. Rule of the law only existed in the theory. In the theory or theoretically, they explained, defined the rights, privileges, and obligations of every people, every citizen. But when it comes to practicality, rule of the law, that was just a theoretical explanation, because still they maintained a discrimination between Indians and Europeans. Even though there's a rule of the law and everyone equal in the eyes of law and judiciary, etc., there are discriminations in judiciary, in policing, in administration, in services, everywhere. These discrimination reflected between Indians and Europeans. Then this westernization, we say that as part of modernization, westernization happened. But this westernization mostly reflected, that was in religious aspect. Westernization was mostly a religious movement. That means it only focused on propagation of Christianity, or they tried to westernize Indians through Christianity. So there is large scale conversions into Christianity, etc. But it did not affect a large pool of Indian society. A large pool of Indian society, Indian communities did not affected by this particular westernization. Westernization, it is to limited classes only, and also on the other side, there are lots of Indian intellectuals. They focused on revival of Indian culture, Indian glorious past, India's religion, etc., etc. So westernization was not reflexive in every aspect of this society. It was mostly religious in character. Then also, let us say, even though this modernism started, we say, but still the old traditions continued here, like land revenue reforms of the Mughals continued here. Okay, the political systems of this, political judicial systems of these Mughals continued here. Then this we say that modernism, economic transformation, capital economy, open economy, market economy, etc., we say, but we cannot say that Indian economy like revolutionized, modernized like anything. In fact, its growth was in a reverse gear. After this Plassey, what happened is continuous, consistent, organized drain of the wealth from India to England happened. So how it affected Indian economy? That is in the form of poverty, famine, and deindustrializations, etc. So it was, plunder of Indian economy. It was the like a deterioration of Indian economy. So deterioration of any institution cannot be treated as a modernism or it's a modernization. Okay. So here on the other counter, as a counter arguments, you can say that we cannot call it as end of the medieval India and start of the modern India, because it was not a a pan-India event. It was not a pan-India event. It did not affect the each and every community or people of India. Then Mughal government still continued, and it was basically Plassey victory of the British. It was basically a result of conspiracy. It was not a great battle. It was a great betrayal. Rule of the law was only in theory. In practice, rule of the law, discrimination existed in this rule of the law. Then westernization mostly reflected in the religious sphere. Then it affected to limited classes only. Then all the traditions continued. Land revenue reforms, what all the institutions existed before this British, that continued. The Indian economy never witnessed any modernization. In fact, it witnessed deterioration. We have seen poverty, famines, deindustrializations, etc. happened with Indian economy. Okay, because of these reasons, we shall say that even though some historians say that yeah, this is like a Plassey victory was, it is the end of the medieval India, start of modern India, but still we have the counter arguments, you know, against that particular opinion. So you take it that in the conclusion we will say that yeah, Plassey was, it was not an absolute event which transformed medieval India into modern India. In fact, it was a process of change. Plassey was the process of change. It was just like what is called, it just I mean, started that process of change from medieval India to modern India. Okay, it was not the absolute event which totally changed medieval India to modern India. In fact, it just began the process of change. Okay, from medieval India to modern India. So this is the way you are supposed to approach this answer. This is the way you're supposed to approach this answer. Okay, give this, when you justify the views of that historian, at the same time you should also give your counter arguments, or you should also say yes, how it is like I mean, when you say that this is end of medieval India and start of modern India, also you should say that I mean, to what extent it was not. Okay, that side also you have to balance in your answer. So this is altogether, this is an answer to a question which is why this Plassey is end of medieval India and start of modern India. At the same time, these points can be, these concepts can be asked in the prelims examination also as multiple choice questions. So go through these valid points and keep on answer writing. Stay safe, stay focused, and don't be panic. Don't be panic. Don't be tensed. Don't be depressed. You are the best. Just think about yourself. You are the best, and don't ever go for a comparison with you and others. Okay, you are always the best, and take care. This civil service examination, clearing this examination, it is a dream, and it is your like a final destination, your life goal.